Hey, first of all, hello, family. Let's do it again. Hello, family. I am glad to see you all here tonight. Hey, quick question before we begin. Is Tanner Thompson here tonight? Y'all see Tanner Thompson? Is he here tonight? All right, someone try to call Tanner Thompson right now. Who's got his number? Somebody got it? Okay. All right, Trent's going to get it. Let's see if he picks up. Hey, if he picks up the phone, we're going to sing him happy birthday because it's his birthday today, okay? So let's see what happens. Should we leave him a voicemail? Yes. We should do that. Let's do it. Pick up or reject the call, Tanner. Maybe he's on the other line. This is taking a long time. It's still ringing. Never mind. Voicemail box is not set up. Never mind. That was a fail. All right. Well, hello, family. Good to see you, and welcome back to Wednesday night, my favorite night of the week. And I hope it's yours too. We got a great crowd. Everybody turn around and wave to the balcony crew. Balcony crew, wave to the people below and get a good loogie and have a spit. Don't do that. Don't do that. We're glad that you're here tonight. We have a few announcements to roll over and then we'll get started. Okay, tomorrow night, Josh. Very good. So dig deeper. That's devotional with Chandler at the Kirby's. Is that Monday next week? So look forward to that. Probably an impact slide if I had to guess.
Yes.
Becky.
Impact will be 6 to 7:30. We'll disclose locations close to the time, but Sadie Coleman will be speaking.
All right, Sadie.
High school only this time.
Attempt number 2, because you were sick this last week. Are you better? Or are you contaminating this whole area? Okay, it's good to see you. Welcome back. Good deal. All right, we look forward to that. All right, more stuff. The Junior Senior Retreat is this weekend, and it's going to be awesome. It's in Gatlinburg/Pigeon Forge. We're going to have a great time. Just a heads up to our juniors and seniors who are signed up. There's like 30 of you. It's a huge crowd. If you're a junior or senior and you're still on the fence about coming, we'll work you in. Also, you need to know that the weather looks like it's going to be pretty rainy. So we're going to adjust our plan just a little bit, and we'll do sort of the chill weekend, which, by the way, is a lot of fun. We'll go to the Lumberjack Feud, which is amazing. And also we'll eat at Paula Dean's restaurant, which is also amazing. It's probably the best breakfast I've ever had in my life. So look forward to that this coming weekend. Hey, this is exciting. Next Wednesday night, am I right about that? No, it's 2 Wednesday nights. 2 Wednesday nights from now, it's what we're calling Super Wednesday. And you guys know what Wednesday is, right? Who can tell me real fast? What is it? Bring a friend on Wednesday. It's just this made-up word where you blend them together. It's Wednesday or Friends Day. And so we'll have a Wednesday on that night. And the reason this is going to be a little different is we're calling it Super Wednesday. We want anybody that you've invited to church over the last year that's come before, invite them to come back. So that's what we're trying to do that night, is any friends you brought with you, bring them back. It'll be a lot of fun. So Super Wednesday. Next week, expect a really great invitation in your hands that you can pass out at school to invite people to come. So that'll be coming up soon. All right, this is an important announcement. The first time it's made its rotation into the announcements. So let me say this. Juniors who are interested in being a student youth intern next year. By the way, we've had 4 really great student youth interns this year, haven't we? Can we give them a hand real quick? They're awesome. So if you would like to be a student youth intern, and let's be real, you want to be a student youth intern, it's like the best job. If you want to do that next year, juniors, you just need to send me a text message. There's kind of a job description, application process to go through. So text me at that number if you're interested in doing that, and I'll correspond with you, and we'll be setting up interviews in the coming weeks. We also could have put Chandler's number up there. I'm sorry, Chandler, we left yours off. But you can text me, Chandler, Joe, and I will start working on that soon, and we'll set up interviews coming up soon. So just let me know if you're interested, and that's all you got to do. Just shoot me a text message, and we'll go from there. All right. To find all that information and a whole lot more information about youth events, all you have to do is scan that QR code on the screen. it'll take you to this little thing called Youth Group Central, where you can find all the information you need. You can sign up for events. Also, if you'd like to scan your youth group passport, this is a great, easy way to do that. You can scan the screen, write your name, press enter, and you're done. That's all you have to do. So look forward to that. All right. I think that's it. We're ready for the lesson now? Okay. So we are on lesson number 3 in a series that I hope you guys are enjoying that we're calling The Secret Life Lessons of Pets. And so the last 2 weeks, we've had some different pets. Who remembers what pet we talked about in week 1? Oh, that was last week. That was week 2, but we'll talk about that. Last week, Chandler talked about being wise as, or crafty as, serpents and innocent as doves. So we talked about nobody really has a pet dove probably, but there are a few of you that had at least Colton had a pet snake. Does anybody else have a pet snake? At least Colton does. I told someone that Colton had it, and they went, he would have a pet snake, whatever that means. So anyway, that was last week. Who remembers 2 weeks ago the pet we talked about? Everybody's favorite pet to kick, the cat, right? I'm sorry. Do you love cats? Okay. I do too. But for some reason, everybody else hates them. So that we talked about cats. We talked about cats 2 weeks ago. And from that, we talked about the story of the prodigal son, how he was kind of like how the cat came back. He was the son who came back home after being away from the father, and just a beautiful, beautiful story. Tonight, we have another lesson that I want us to present, and would you like to see who the pet is tonight? All right, let's make that happen. All right, this is Kate. She's going to go retrieve our pet. So let's wait for that. In case you haven't figured it out yet, tonight's pet is a hamster. Hooray for hamsters. Hooray for a video. Hooray for a GIF of a hamster going round and round on the wheel. Oh, I thought you were going to bring him out in a cage. Okay, so, all right, tell us about this hamster. Can y'all see him? He's shaking a lot. Okay, tell us who this is.
This is Gizmo the hamster.
This is Gizmo the hamster who is shaking a lot. And how old is Gizmo?
Around 3, maybe.
3 years old. And I notice he's got a leg that looks like it's been shaved. Does he shave his legs, Gizmo? What happened to his little leg there?
I honestly have no idea.
You should get that looked at. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. So tell us about Gizmo. What is Gizmo's personality? Pets have personalities, right? What's Gizmo like?
His favorite thing to do is pretty much sleep, eat, and try to bite me. So.
Eat, sleep, and eat you. Okay. Very good. So do you love Gizmo? Mostly. Tell us how you got Gizmo. Tell us the story.
So he was actually originally Piper's, and she had been begging for a hamster forever for Christmas, and she finally drove my parents nuts, so they got her one, and then she gave him to me because she got tired of him.
Isn't that how it goes? Yeah. All right. Thank you for bringing Gizmo, the really cute little guy. Bye, Gizmo. I love the name Gizmo. Oh, by the way, right before this is not a smooth transition, but I just looked down on this podium and I saw this shoe. So we need to take a moment to talk about this shoe. We had a Devo Sunday night, and a bunch of the high school boys were messing around, and they took Emerson Haley's shoe. And so as you guys were walking in, we actually had a game on the screen that said, help us find Emerson's shoe, because we couldn't find it. It was somewhere in the building. And so congratulations to the high school boys. I think you guys who were up in the balcony who found it. And Emerson, would you like your shoe back? Okay, give it up for Emerson, who now has his shoe back. Can I give this to you? That was pretty good. Good job. Moving back to the hamster, back to Gizmo. So I don't know, when you think about hamsters, what comes to your mind pretty quick? I think about a hamster wheel, right? This little thing, this hamster stays on that wheel, and it runs, and it runs, and it runs, and it runs. Kate, does your hamster like to run? Where did Kate go? Kind of lazy, but sometimes he'll get on that wheel and run. So when I think about hamsters, I can't help but think about the wheel. And so let me kind of ask you a question. Do you ever feel like you can identify a little bit with the idea of being on a wheel where you're running and you're running and you're running and you're running and you're busy and you got a schedule that you're trying to keep and you got a to-do list that you're trying to do and you're trying to cross things off and you're running and you're running and you're busy, but at the end of the day, you're like, what did I do today? Did I really accomplish anything? Did I really move? Did anything that I did really matter? Do you ever feel that way? Or maybe you're staying busy and you're moving a lot, but you're not really moving forward. You're kind of stuck. Well, if you've ever felt that way, and you've wondered, does my busyness really matter? If you can relate to that in any way, I have good news. Jesus has a story for you. Let's look in Luke chapter 10 tonight. It's really a short story, but it's pretty awesome. We'll be in verse 38. Luke 10, verse 38. You guys are busy, right? You have school and homework and band and competitions and projects and papers, relationships you're trying to manage, band, and you're running like crazy. You got this whole list of things you're trying to do. Do you ever just feel stuck? Well, let's look at Luke chapter 10, starting in verse 38. It says this. Now, as they went on their way, Jesus entered a village, and a woman named Martha welcomed him into her house. That's nice, right? The hospitality of Martha. And now the Bible's going to take us inside the home and show us kind of what's going on inside there. Verse 39, and Martha had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to his teaching. But Martha was distracted with much serving. Do you ever wish you could meet a celebrity? Who is a celebrity that you wish you could meet? Yeah. Who's that? Bethany Hamilton. Harry Styles. I wonder if anybody would say that one. Carrie Underwood. Tom Holland. Oh, that's a good one. Ryan Reynolds. Batman. Like all of the Batmans or just the one? There's only one Batman. Okay. Yeah. Who's that? Oh, you threw the initial in there. I got so excited. She said Michael B. Jordan, but I'd be Michael Jordan. But Michael B. Jordan, I love him too. He's great. All right. Somebody else? Hank Williams Jr. says Sean with a new haircut. Yeah. Who's that? Morgan Wallen. Any Taylor Swift fans? Noah, is that what you're raising your hand for? No. Bradley's a huge Taylor Swift fan. Any Taylor Swift fans in here? Got a few. All right. So I want you to imagine that Taylor Swift, or you can imagine any celebrity you want to, but for this analogy, I'm going to use Taylor Swift. Let's imagine that Taylor Swift, that you win a contest, and Taylor Swift is going to come to your house and hold a private concert for like you and your friends and family. And she's going to perform like an acoustic set in the middle of your living room. All right? And so imagine that that's what's going to happen, and it's awesome. You know, it's amazing. Your friends and your family are all there, and everybody's recording it and just kind of soaking it all in and taking it in. But instead of you sitting there, you're off in the kitchen washing dishes. And your friends are like, what are you doing? And while you're washing dishes, you think, you know, this house is kind of a mess. I need to probably vacuum the floors. And so you take off and you start doing the floors. You think, you know, I got a lot of guests in my home. They're going to get hungry. I should probably like prepare some snacks for my guests. And so you start working on that. And your friends all the while are like, what is she doing? Like Taylor Swift is in your living room. You're like, instead of like, you're taking care of dishes, you're soaking dishes instead of like soaking in this amazing experience. Like that's crazy, right? And so that's just a small example of the scene that's going on here, okay? Because someone bigger than Taylor Swift or Harry Styles or whoever, someone bigger than any of those celebrities is in the house of Martha. Who is it? It's Jesus. And so something better than an acoustic concert is going on. The Son of God is sitting in her house teaching God's ways, right? Man, talk about a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
And not just like a lifetime of anybody, people that would come later on. Nobody would get to witness something so amazing, right? And so this is huge. And here's Martha. This is pretty interesting. Instead of listening to him, look at verse 40. Martha, listen to this phrase, was distracted with what? Much serving. Isn't that an interesting phrase? This idea of being distracted with serving. I thought serving was a good thing, right? I mean, isn't Jesus all about service and serving people? Haven't we heard him say things like, one of the greatest things you can do is serve other people? Well, apparently, maybe that's what Martha thought too. And maybe it's appropriate to keep using our Taylor Swift analogy because Martha is totally about to Kanye Jesus. All right, here. All right, look at verse 40 because it looks like she just walks up right in the middle of his session, right in the middle of his speech. She walks up, verse 40, and interrupts him. And she went up to him and said, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Tell her then to what? Help me." Have you ever had a big project that you got assigned, and maybe you had a partner that the teacher gave to you, and it was getting really, really close to that deadline, and like it's the night before, and your partner hadn't done anything, and you've done all the work? Anybody relate to that? How does it make you feel? Kind of ticked off? Right? Like, I've been busting my tail to get this work done. What have you been doing the whole time? Right? And what's running through your mind when you look over at that person? Maybe you're working at home and you're doing this big project that your parents said you and your sister or you and your brother have to do. You look over at your brother who's just sitting there watching TV. What's running through your mind? Man, I can't believe they're just going to sit there and watch TV while I'm sitting here doing all the work, right? Or maybe it's a lazy teammate that's not putting the work in, or a coworker that's not putting the work in, or a partner on a school project, and you're working like crazy, and you're trying to get all this done, and you're putting forth all this effort, and they're not giving you anything to work with. Now, does that get under your skin? Yeah, of course it does. If you can relate to that, it's easy to see where Martha's coming from in this scenario, right? There's this massive to-do list in her mind, and it would go twice as fast if she had what? A sister that would actually help her out. She's just sitting there. Did you see the way Martha phrased this? Look at verse 40. "Lord, do you not care?" This is not right. She should be doing what I'm doing. She should be as busy as I am. And Jesus almost does like a Brady Bunch reference here. He says, "Martha, Martha, Martha." Verse 41. "You are anxious and troubled about many things, but how many things are necessary? One. Mary has chosen the good portion, which will not be taken away from her." Wow. Isn't it amazing how much Jesus can say in only like 2 sentences? Verse 41, Jesus says this in such a loving way. He says, "Martha, Martha, you're anxious. You're troubled. You're anxious. You're troubling yourself over all these many things in your mind that you think need to be done, but in reality, there's only one thing. There's only one needed thing, only one necessary thing, and that's the thing that Mary has chosen to do." Do you ever find yourself like Martha, anxious and troubled and stressed out by all the things that are on your to-do list? Yeah, there's like formal, and there's tests, and there's homework, and papers, and graduation, and college, and practice, and games, and competitions, and my job, and some of you relate to this, and on top of that, I don't have any money, so there's that I've got to deal with, and so how am I supposed to get all this done? Here's Martha with her massive to-do list, and she looks over at her sister, and she just scoffs, like, and here's Jesus, who looks over at Mary, and he looks over at Martha. And he looks over at Martha in her state of worry. And he looks over at Mary in her state of worship. And it's not that Martha is a bad person, right? She's serving. She's doing a good thing. But the key word is in verse 40. Look back with me. But Martha was distracted with much serving. That word distracted in Greek, and you hear that and you're like, why are we talking about Greek? You might not really understand, but the New Testament was originally written in the language of Greek. And so it's kind of cool sometimes to look back and go, okay, how did that get translated into English? Well, the word in Greek for distracted is perispao. Perispao. And it's a word that means to draw away. To draw away. And so that's where the idea of being distracted comes from. To draw away. And isn't that exactly what happens to Martha in this story? She's drawn away. Verse 39, Martha had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to his teaching. All right, so there's Mary seated at Jesus' feet, but Martha was distracted by much serving. So here's Jesus, here's Mary, here's Martha. And the form of the word here specifically is perispato, which means she's drawn away from Jesus. And why is she drawn away from Jesus? She's distracted by what? Serving. She's drawn away from this beautiful scene. And so as we wrap up tonight, I really just have one question that I want you to consider. I want you to think about. I want us all to consider. It's not just you. This is me too, because I need this as much as anybody in this room. And here it is for you. What is drawing me away from Jesus? What is drawing me away from Jesus? A lot of times we think about that phrase in terms of sin, right? All these bad things that could draw us away from Jesus, and certainly that fits. But oftentimes it's not sinful things that draw me away. It's things I enjoy. It can even be good things. What drew Martha away? It was serving. You could be drawn away or distracted. Remember that phrase that Jesus used? You could be drawn away by many things. But the reality is we've got to make sure that the many things don't distract us from the one thing, the thing that's necessary, the thing that's needed. Because that one thing is Jesus. The things of Christ are the most important things. Don't miss him. Don't invite Jesus over and then neglect him. Right? Don't invite Jesus to be a part of your life and then run off to do other things. Like, Jesus, come on in, have a seat. You're important to me. I want you to be a part of my life, but I got this game. Let me get back to you. I got this game. Jesus, have a seat. I got this job, but I'll be right back. I got this project, but let me take care of that, and I'll be right back. I've got this video game. I'll just be a few minutes. I'll be right back. I've got this family thing. I've got this get-together. I've got this party, but I'll be right back. Don't invite Jesus and neglect the most important thing in your home. It's him. Story for you guys as we sort of wrap up. A few years ago, I was at Freed-Hardeman University. It's where I went to college. And it was the time of lectureship was going on, and that's where they have all these people that come back on campus and listen to different Bible lessons. Anyway, so I'm there, and I'm there to do a lecture, and I'm hanging out before class starts, and I see a couple of former students from the youth group who were students there at the time. It was Emily Arnold, who's now married. She's Emily Elrod, and Caitlin Stevens, and she's now married. And I can't remember her last name, but she just got married. Anyway, so they're there, and it'll hit me later. Anyway, so they're there, and it's before my lecture, and I'm kind of visiting with them, hanging out, and then I see one of my old professors walk into the lobby area, and his name was Stan Mitchell. Stan Mitchell passed away. I don't know. It's probably been 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 years ago now. I think it happened before COVID. But anyway, he was a professor on campus that was very beloved and so genuine and so kind, and he always smiled, and everybody loved him on campus. But he also had this great South African accent. He grew up in the mission field, and so he had this great accent, and so he would say like, hello, I am Stan Mitchell. He would say things like that. And so I was visiting. I was visiting with them, and then lo and behold, here comes Stan Mitchell, and he looks over and he says, "Oh dear, there he is, or something like that." And he looks at Emily and Caitlin. And he says, "You know, he used to be one of my students in my class. You know what I remember about him? Enormously talented, easily distracted." And I laughed, and they laughed, and I thought that's probably the most accurate thing anyone's ever said. Like, I am so easily distracted. I don't know about the talent part, but I'm so easily distracted. And so I laughed, and I had a good time thinking about that, and it's a great memory. But here's the thing. I don't want that on my gravestone. He had all the talent in the world, but he couldn't get out of his own way. She had all this ability, but she was too caught up in this to do the most important thing. She had all the influence on a team, but she didn't use it for God. Everybody in that cocoon looked to him to make a difference, but he chose not to. Enormous talent wasted, easily distracted. I don't want that said about me. I don't want to be a steward or a servant who was given much and did very little with it. Jesus invites you and I to step off the wheel and step into a relationship with him and sit down at his feet. There are many things that we can concern ourselves with, like Martha. There are many things we can concern ourselves with, but let's not neglect the one thing that is most necessary, Jesus. When you think about what he says about Mary and Martha, a clean house, a career, money, sports, they can all be taken away. But remember what he said about Mary? The one thing she's chosen can never be taken away. Let's be like Mary. Let's concern ourselves with the things of Jesus that cannot be taken away from us. Let's pray. Father, help us to concern ourselves with the right thing, with our relationship with you. And it's not wrong to be busy. It's not wrong to be productive. But it's wrong when our priorities are out of order. So help us to be like Mary, to sit down at your feet every day, to learn more of you, to listen to your words, because we know that the treasure we store up in heaven cannot be taken away, and the treasures of earth can. Help us to have a heart like hers. Help us to be more like Jesus, not to be distracted, but to be fully focused on him and not drawn away from him. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Thank y'all for being here tonight. We'll go to